Robyn, thank you for this interview, but also thank you for the incredible performance. Lucky enough to be there last night and watch the film and knowing the story well and knowing some of the characters well.
You're in the movie.
Well, yes, a younger me as well, when I was a political reporter.
Yeah.
But I was so proud. I didn't know that was going to happen. I am so proud to be a tiny bit in there. Like, I am honestly so proud.
That's so,
So,
well, me too.
you've got quite a big one. But yeah, it's pride. But what I wanted to ask you about was, did you feel, and you obviously felt actually, a massive sense of responsibility with this role? How did you deal with that, the responsibility that came with it?
I felt a deep sense of responsibility towards Sonia because, this was the worst moment in her life, and I'm telling that story. I'm going in as her rep for her real life. So, and that's an outer and inner thing. It's like you want to do right by her heart and soul and by her experience. And then there's the story of the Pike River families and what they went through. And there's also, I guess, the biggest story again, which is what happened politically and what that means in terms of us as a country, who we are as people, who we are as a community, all that stuff. So it was, a lot of it was huge. But the only way you do that is you don't look at the big mountain. You just climb to the next bit and the next bit. And the lovely thing about making film is it's so deconstructed. So all you've got to do is you've got to make a scene right, make that work, and then the next one, and then it's the editor and the director. They've got to put it all together. So I always think filmmaking, it's a bit like we're all in the same sandpit and we're all building the same sandcastle, but we've each got little specialities. Like some of us are great moat builders, and other some of us know where to put the shells, and some of us know where to pack in the sand. But we all know what we're making, and so it's a shared responsibility, because otherwise it'd be overwhelming.
Yeah, especially with, like you say, being their representative, isn't it? It's all of your acting is very intimate, but this film is different.
Yeah, it's different, and we've been saying a lot, and Vicky and Rob have been saying it too, is that there is the film, and the film is to be celebrated, but it's not really about the film. It's about what really happened. It's about that story. It's about those women. It's about those families, and it's a living issue, because no one's been held accountable yet.
Yeah, and we'll come to that, because I do want to talk to you about that. But my favourite part, and this is a bit niche of watching it, I loved the Allied concrete part and the fact that they would not pour the concrete. And do you love that bit?
Me too. Yes. And it's interesting because this morning a lot of people have brought that moment up. And I've been thinking about that a lot today. And it's because it's the first moment in the film where you get a sense of the wider community really getting what's right and what's wrong. And they're a family-run business, and they get it, and they say, we're not going to pour the concrete, and we never will. And it's a really wonderful human moment and Kiwi moment.
Yeah, got a cheer last night.
Didn't it?
Cheer.
Yeah.
Everyone's cheering Allied concrete. And Rowdy Durbridge was on stage after the premiere last night. I thought what he said was an amazing endorsement of your mahi. He said, nothing good has ever come out of Pike River, but every now and then there's a glimmer of hope, a ray of light, some sunshine. And this film feels like that. That's a pretty incredible thing for Rowdy to say. He lost his son Daniel in the mine. What did you feel when he said that in front of everyone afterwards last night?
Rowdy's amazing. I mean, Rowdy is he's such a natural storyteller, and what I've found with so many people who went through that tragedy is that there's sort of an appalling candour about them. It's like they don't sugarcoat anything. They're just brutally honest. And Rowdy's journey through watching the film twice, where he felt so much hatred and anger after the first screening and after the second screening, like the sun came out for him. And to me, you know, so often, I mean, everybody has their existential crises around what they do for a living. And of course, being an actor, you're like, am I really living this incredibly frivolous, narcissistic life? Am I really, is what I do really that important? And when you make a movie like Pike and you're able to tell the story of that tragedy back to the people who lived it and hold up some kind of mirror to them and have someone like Rowdy say, that's a moment for sunshine for me. That was a moment when my hate shifted, is profoundly moving. And I've not experienced that before in that way, you know. And but also, tragedy can do that, you know, like when Sonia and Anna and Mel and I first went out for dinner together, when we all met for the first time, and we had been chatting away for about 4 hours, and there'd been a lot of tears and a lot of dirty jokes, as those two can do. But right at the end, I said to Sonia, I hope you don't think this is inappropriate, but I want to ask you this. It's like Pike has taken so much from you. Has it given you anything? And she just wrapped her arms around Anna and said, it gave me her. You know, and she meant it. You know, and that's when you go, it's like there's a love inside the tragedy. And that's what I love about this film, is that there's this overall tragedy, but within it you see a community wrap around itself, and you see this love develop between these two women, and they hold each other through that loss, and they still are, you know, and that's where it really gets me.
Yeah, it's clear the emotion is very real still for you after everything you've done with it. And Rob Saki said something last night. He talked about passing the baton in terms of the fight for accountability, and you brought this up yourself before, Robyn. You know, even a lot of New Zealanders won't realise, well, actually, they haven't really had any accountability, and there's still an active police investigation. There potentially might be charges. You obviously think there should be accountability in Pike River with everything that you know?
Oh, 100%, more than once. I mean, Whittle needs to be up at least on 29 cases of manslaughter, and he's running an old folks' home in Australia. You know, he managed to get out of this country scot-free. And I mean, John T. Hendry, who's a dear friend of mine, his performance as Peter Whittle, I think, is really wonderful, because you get the complexity of that man too. But, you know, him in particular, I remember early on, we all drank the Peter Whittle Kool-Aid for a minute. We were all like, this is a good man, and he's standing on the side of the miners and the families. And then there was this insurance payout, and he got out of the country. And no one has been held accountable for that loss. And the others around that, it's really amazing to me that nothing has happened.
Yeah, and there is a chance, though, that the police and the Crown may come to a decision to lay charges. You know, it sounded to me as if you would like to see charges laid over Pike River.
Absolutely. 29 men died unnecessarily, and they died because the health and safety regulations were not adhered to at all. And, you know, when you've got contract workers It's why contract working in those sorts of environments just should not exist, because those guys, they wanted to work, and they were working day by day by day, and they were prepared to go in under any conditions, and they were told it was safe. And we've seen now it wasn't safe. There was methane. The levels of methane in there were way higher than they should have been. And what worries me now is that the health and safety regulations that were put in place after that are now being eroded again by this government because of the fast track bill. And so something like this could happen again in forestry or mining or wherever. And I'm not sure that we have a government that I shudder to think how they would cope with this, and so we're not out of the woods, as we're learning a lot this year. People don't necessarily learn from history. And not only have we not learned from history, no one's been accountable for our recent history. And that's what I love about this film, is that it is a story of a moment in history, but it's completely live right now. And I really hope that this film helps New Zealanders refocus on this bit again,
Refocus on Pike and the lack of accountability.
Yes.
You want to amplify that, or get New Zealanders to remember that there hasn't been any?
Yeah. Nothing. It is extraordinary that those families were paid, what was it, 110,000, 130,000 each for the loss of their son, their husband, their partner, and nobody's head rolled.
And what do you think it says? This is something you said at the start of the what do you think it says about us as a country, the fact that there has been no accountability? And here's one way of looking at it, and this is what I was thinking while I was watching it last night. Rob Sarkis has been able to make this amazing film involving some of our very best, Melanie and yourself and all of the other people, this incredible team. Has been able to create something special, but we haven't been able to lay charges or bring accountability as a country,
Yeah, I think that speaks to where we are generally, and that's the thing that I find most tragic, is that I look at who we were, and I know times move on, and I know, we talk a lot about growth and progression and all the rest of it, but I want my old country back, because my old country that I remember, and I was a kid, community mattered, and you took care of the little person. They mattered, and it seems that we don't live in a country anymore that regards that as, it used to be a central tenet of who we are, and that's gone. And I find that deeply tragic, particularly at the moment, because we can be better. We can be better, and that's where Anna and Sonia, to me, are real beacons. Because if you can get two women, disempowered women, with nothing in the tank, financially or emotionally, after the most profound tragedy, who 15 years later are still going and still fighting for a little bit of justice, it says a lot about who we can be and what we have lost. And to me, I just hold on to them, not our leaders at the moment.
And to talk about a couple of things that I don't know so much about, actually. I've seen you speak openly about anxiety before, and menopause, which is something I definitely don't know about. Bringing those into this picture, what was it like playing another woman like that, and playing it so raw? Did your anxiety come into that?
No, it's interesting. It's like, I was at the premiere of a film in London called I Swear, which is about Tourette's, and I was with a couple of actors, and when they act, their Tourette's disappears, and when I work, any anxiety disappears. It's my happy place. And particularly when I'm playing somebody who's real, you know, and so it was a great pleasure to be Sonia. And also for me, playing women like that, there's always a political kick to it, because they're the women that you ignore. You know, they're the women, the middle-aged women that you don't see. And Anna made herself seen and heard very early on in the story. But Sonia didn't want to be on camera, didn't want to speak, didn't want focus, didn't want to be seen as a hero, just didn't want to be noticed. But she put that aside, despite herself, for her son. And to me, that's such a, you know, like my anxiety's got nothing compared to that.
Yeah, but you're still very brave to talk about it openly.
Yeah.
And others are able to learn from it. Anxiety and menopause as well is something that you've spoken about openly a lot later.
Yeah. Well, I figure it's like you only don't talk about something if you're ashamed of it, you know? And we learn, particularly as women, we've grown up learning that there are a lot of things that we could be ashamed about if we wanted to listen to those people or not. And so I figure you declare your hand and you kick shame to the curb, and then it's kind of very liberating. It's, you know, the truth is somebody said to me once, the truth is a tank. And it really is, because it mows down everything else very quickly. And that's, again, just bringing it back to those two, that's what I love about them. Grief brings about an amazing truth, as you saw in Rowdy last night, for instance.
It's very, very inspiring. And I think your performance in Pike River is incredibly inspiring.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
Robyn, I also just find you very inspiring as a New Zealander.
Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this interview.
It's my pleasure. So you're not going to tell me about how you chased me around a graveyard or anything like that? No, we never did that.
No,
just that my mum loves you.
I know. Well, it was awesome that your mum texted me and said that I was doing a good job on the radio one time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She likes to give a thumbs up and a green tick when she sees it's merited.
It's one of the best texts I've ever got, because I didn't know your mum at all. I just said, "Hi, it's Ann Malcolm here." And then thankfully your sister texted me, said, "Expect a text from my mum at the moment," because at first I was like, "Who is Ann? Who's Ann?" I like her.
She does good text, and she's always there are always caps involved and a lot of exclamation marks.
No, you're a great family. Thank you very much, Robyn.
Thanks, Paddy.